Hello and welcome. You're tuned in to Embodied Astrology, and my name is Renee Sills. I'm a consulting astrologer and somatic educator, and I'm here to offer Virgo season ahead horoscopes for your sun, moon, and rising signs. Virgo season extends from August 22nd to September 22nd in 2024. Regardless of your sun, moon, or rising sign, you also have Virgo in your chart. In this season's readings, I'll be focusing on how the astrological influences of Virgo season resonate for your sign, and how you can tune in best with this season's influences and needs. These horoscopes are focused on you, and in order to deliver what I feel are the clearest messages, for the most part, I don't get overly detailed about astrological specifics. If you want more information on what transits, aspects, and retrogrades are doing this season, and if you're interested in my take on what this means for our larger world and current events, make sure to take a listen to my Virgo season ahead overview, where I break down this season's astrology in detail and offer interpretation and intuition for working with it on personal and collective levels. Over the course of Virgo season, I and the team here at Embodied Astrology have a number of offerings that resonate with Virgo's needs of practicality, healing, and service to the larger whole. Practically, astrology is a great tool for timing and strategy. And historically, it has been used by leaders in all spheres to take advantage of opportunity and work skillfully with challenge. As you're probably well aware, there are lots of challenges in our world right now that need skillful approaches in order to heal and tend the needs of the greater good. In service of these aims, Embodied Astrology is hosting a participatory astrological research group where we're exploring critical areas in need of activism and developing timing strategies for activists and organizers to tune in with the greatest efficacy and change between now and 2050. In Virgo season, our research group will be meeting twice, on September 12th and 14th, and we would love to have you there. On a personal level, bringing our best to the needs of the times is never always easy, and working through challenges is part of what builds our competency, maturity, creativity, and resilience. This year, our team member Sherry Taylor is diving deep into one of the most potent influences when it comes to these themes, and that's the planet Saturn. Over the course of 2024 and 25, as Saturn transits Pisces, Sherry is holding space at Embodied Astrology to help us fortify our discipline and devotion so that we can work in ways that are more authentic and aligned with our life purpose. Sherry's offerings work in cycles that include council sessions, where she invites guests to join her, along with release and rest sessions, where her focus turns inward towards the realms of breathwork and personal practice. In Virgo season, Sherry is working specifically with themes of vocation and purpose, and you can tune in with the recording of her council session with vocational astrologer Renee and integrate with her through the healing release session on September 1st. One of the most challenging experiences that many people are contending with right now is information overwhelm and uncertainty about what is real when it comes to media, information, and news. Current astrology reflects this powerfully in the transit of Neptune at the last degrees of the zodiac. In astrological symbolism, Neptune is associated with our imaginations and the power of our minds to produce feeling states that shape our perceptions of reality. Correspondingly, Neptune is also associated with created images, as we might encounter them through realms of visual media, especially photography and video. With digital manipulation and artificial intelligence becoming increasingly commonplace, it's important that we have discernment and awareness as we navigate the realms of shared information. If you're interested in exploring these themes through astrology, check out the Nebula Lab with Gabs 404. September 7th session will focus specifically on AI and its connections to imagery and visual culture. As social media and news increasingly become sites of social division and manipulation, it's essential that we build skills to contend with conflict. Astrology happens to be an amazing tool for navigating difference and conflict in creative ways that support us in seeing where and how we can work across distances towards mutual aims and efforts. As the social landscape becomes increasingly explosive and dynamic over the next months, I hope you'll consider joining us for our November series with Mars retrograde, led by Ramon Parrish, Constellations of Conflict. Ramon will use astrology to help us find healing in the realms of the internal, interpersonal, and institutional. Finally, this is a time where one of the biggest needs that many people are experiencing is trustworthy and supportive community. Since its inception, Embodied Astrology has always been about bringing people together through the language and practice of astrology. and we continue to offer nourishing and soulful communal spaces monthly and weekly. Once a month, you can join us with Janata Petrus for the Full Moon Artistic Alchemy Spaces, where she'll offer prompts and practices for working with the full moon's influences, the seasonal cycle, and your natal chart. These spaces are rich with support for sustaining through the ups and downs of life with creativity and joy. Join Janata on September 15th for the Pisces Full Moon Edition, which is sure to be an extra potent one, as that full moon is also the first lunation of this year's second season of eclipses. For weekly support, you can find me every Monday in Somatic Space, where we work with the astral influences of the week ahead through gentle and adaptive movement practices, guided meditation, breathwork, and visualization. These sessions are meant to set you up to meet the moment and cultivate mind, heart, body practices that help you align with what astrology is asking for now. Finally, for those of you ready to get offline and into dimensional space together, I hope you'll consider joining me October 24th through 27th for an on-land retreat at the Eco Dharma Center in Colorado's Rocky Mountains. Together with Ramon and Michelle Gabrieloff Parrish, we'll be exploring the intersections of astrology, embodiment, and environment. You can learn more about everything I just mentioned through the links in our show notes or at embodiedastrology.com. Last but not least, I hope that you find this work supportive, and if you do, that you will support us in turn. The best ways to do that are to subscribe, follow, like, and leave us comments, which helps our channels grow. Your one-time tips, recurring donations, and monthly memberships are so appreciated, and they sustain the production of this work. Thank you. Now, onto your horoscopes. Hello, Aries. Welcome to Virgo season. This reading is for all of your Aries placements, definitely your sun, moon, and rising. I'm going to offer you this reading in 3 parts, focusing on your head, your heart, and your belly, or what is practical, what is healing, and what connects you with the integrity of all of your interconnections and larger environmental whole. Starting with what's practical, where are you focusing in Virgo season and what's going on in that head of yours? Aries, it feels like there is a lot of emphasis right now on your stability and your well-being. I feel that your body and your basic energy are asking for attention. There's a question that's coming up for me as I'm looking at your chart, and that question is, how do you know your truth? How do you know when you are operating from a place that is truly embodied, integrated, and aligned versus operating from a place that is more egoic or anchored in some kind of sense of external something or other, maybe looking for validation, maybe feeling competitive, maybe comparison or ideas about what other people want and need from you. I feel that over the course of Virgo season, a lot of you really need to pull your energy out of the external and back into your own being. My sense is that it feels like a lot of you are kind of depleted right now, like you've been putting out a lot and now you need to gather and reorient and recollect. And this is a really powerful period of time for you actually to engage with some necessary change. Many of you have habits and patterns that are just not serving you right now. You know what they are. As soon as I said them, you knew what they are. And many of you also have habits and patterns that you are trying to implement or that you know would be helpful for you. And it feels like this is a period of time that is asking for your discipline and your dedication in order to get these habits and patterns more firmly implemented in your day-to-day life. So on the practical level, I want to say that your mind is so powerful. And if you can work skillfully with your mind, then you can work skillfully with your life and in the world and basically anything that you want to do and want to set your attention to. So this is definitely a season to pay attention to the power of your mind and also to notice the power of distraction and what pulls you in a million different directions. As I mentioned, I think a lot of you are overextended in your energy currently and need to come back in. And one of the ways that you are overextending has to do with the 5 billion directions that your attention is going and how many different things you're trying to track or take care of, or conversations that you're having. I'm going to say that you definitely want to be careful right now about the influence of your devices. It would be a wonderful period of time for you to take a little bit of maybe social media break, or to be very discerning around how you intake information. And I also want to encourage you to make lists, to prioritize what you know that you need to be attending to, and actually to put to the side what isn't a high priority right now. If it can wait, let it wait. As you put what is not necessarily a priority to the side, I'd like you to amplify and uplift the practices and self-care that you know that you need right now. Now, I don't know what it is specifically for you, but I know that Aries right now is getting some major intuition about, you know what you need. You know that doing certain things or not doing certain things is going to be important. I'm going to say critical for your self-growth, for your vitality, and for your development. And I'm also going to say that nobody else can make these choices for you. You need to do them for yourself. And if you can prioritize where your attention is going, and make sure that you're giving time, space, and energy to what you know that you need, it will help you so much right now. So it's worth it to not do some things that you know that you don't really need in order to do the things that you know that you really need to do. And the last thing that I'm going to say on this, Aries, is that your inner truth right now is resonating, I think, around two really strong points of recognition. And so one point of recognition has to do with your authenticity and your joy. If certain situations are making you really unhappy, or they have been making you unhappy, if they feel like a drag, if it's like not aligned with you, this is the time to really start to think about, how do you make a transition? How do you get out of what the situation is, or change it so that it will be better aligned? Secondly, I'm going to say that there are some maturation intuitions that I think are coming in for you right now. And it's a feeling of like your inner guides telling you it's time to level up. And this isn't always the same as what brings you joy and what makes you happy, because it's not always so thrilling to adult or to like call upon our maturity. But in the long term, it's actually going to build a much more sustainable sense of resilience and contentment. And when you meet what your intuition is telling you that now it's time to meet, you're going to be very happy for that in the long run. So if you've been having some feelings of like, okay, you know, it's time for me to get a little bit more responsible in this way, this is definitely the time to listen to that inner guidance. Okay, when it comes to healing, what I want to say, Aries, is that you're never alone. You are held in the infinite expanding is, the creative substance, the intelligence that has formed this earth, your body, the expanding universe, is inside of you and all around you. You are held in the family of things. Your body is breathing breath that has been breathed by so many different beings. The water that's passing through your body has existed in all forms across the planet. It has been here since our planet first had water. You are not alone. And the idea of separation and isolation, as human beings love to indulge, especially in our current era, is an idea that is inherently violent and really harmful to the potentiality of our consciousness. However, to remember that we're not alone has to be a practice, because we do live in a world that really loves to separate us and uplift individualism and downplay or totally ignore and erase the very real interpermeations and connections between not just people, but people with land, people with air and all the elements, and also people with the invisible realms, with our ancestors, with our spirits, with our emotions, etc. Your greatest healing at this time comes from remembering that you are not alone and really practicing attuning with the ways that you are interconnected and embedded in creation. Your healing is boosted by any kinds of practices that help you do this specifically. So practices like meditation or working with divination, astrology, tarot, other forms of mysticism can be hugely beneficial for you at this time. Any spiritual practices that are involved with including ourselves or integrating ourselves with the larger consciousness that is here are helpful. And I want to be careful here to discern between spiritual practices that uplift the spirit that moves through us and religious practices that produce a dogma or fundamentalism of hierarchy and some beings somehow being separate from other beings. There are many religious forms that will call themselves spiritual that will say things like, humans are more superior to non-humans, right? In the animal realm, or people identified as men are superior to people identified as women. And these are ideas that are wildly harmful, that keep us separated, that keep us isolated. So I really want to encourage you to adopt practices and approaches to any kind of religion or spirituality that you might resonate with that are inclusive and that really help you feel that you are part of God and God is part of you. However you want to call God, whatever the name is, you are part of them and this great creation that we get to experience in these earthly lives moves through all of us. When it comes to your greatest purpose and how you can be most deeply of service at this time, recognizing your interconnections is really important. And as you recognize your interconnections and the ways that you resonate with creation as a whole, you'll probably recognize that there's lots of different energies in here. Creation is wildly diverse. There are all kinds of different manifestations and potentialities inside of creation. Some of them are more harmful than others. Some of them are more healing than others. I'm going to say they're all part of creation. Some of them really resonate with you, and some of them definitely do not. To be of greatest service at this time, Aries, it's important to know where you want to plug in, where your people are, your affiliations and your networks, and who and what you want to be serving. I think that your greatest service requires some discernment from you at this time. This discernment feels like identifying where you in your unique life can really bring the most potential and where you can feel your greatest gifts expanding and being offered. Now, that kind of information does not come through in a general horoscope. That is much more about your individual chart. If you're curious about figuring out who you are and what your greatest gifts are through your chart, I definitely recommend checking out Sherry Taylor's Salve Coagula series, particularly over Virgo season, where she's working with vocation. Or I'd recommend getting a natal chart reading from an astrologer who you trust. But I will say that I definitely feel that right now you can orient and determine where you want to put your energy by getting clear about what your values are. Now, again, to just reference Sherry's series, the way that she works is in cycles of 3, and the first session that she had for her current series was a collaboration with Renee, who's a vocational astrologer. And Anders has asked some really important questions about values and offered some prompts to reflect on what your particular values are. So I want to share these with you now and ask you to really feel into your imagination and idea of what your most perfect expression of your life energy would look like and would feel like. You know who you are. So if you are going to feel your most complete, your most whole from who you are right now and the life that you've had, what would that feel like? What would the world look like that would allow you to do that? And then notice inside of this imagination where the labor is, where the effort is. What did it take in order to get here? What have you developed? What did the world need to develop in order for you to experience this? Those are your values. When you concentrate on these areas of growth and these areas of investment in the larger world, that is concentration on your values. This is a really important time for you to be investing in your values and building what you think is valuable in the world and with others. When you work in coalition and solidarity with others who share your values then become fortified and reinforced. So Aries, I'm going to say that Virgo season is an important time for you to be working skillfully with the internal discernment and intelligence that you have that helps guide you to your greatest becoming. It feels like this is a period of time that is asking you to really integrate with your most dignified and response-able self, and to understand that the choices you make now will inevitably and in ways that are quite profound shape the choices that you have available to yourself in the future. And so it may feel like a drag to do the thing that you know that you need to do, and it's like, ugh, I don't really want to do it. But if you can concentrate on how making this choice today actually sets you up for the choice being easier, more joyful, and more practiced in the future, and that then contributes to some larger field of greater good, you will be supported in making those choices today. And Virgo season is asking you to show up with your responsibility, with your emotional maturity and your intention around really bringing the best that you have to this one and precious life. I know that's a tall order, and it's not going to be something that you do entirely in 4 weeks of a season, but these are some intentions to bring in and certainly to concentrate with over the course of the season, and especially around the new and full moons. Aries, I'm wishing you all the best in Virgo season and beyond. Bye for now.